Okay, another montage sequence. Traveling into Boston again. There's my luggage. There's the boat. There's the office. But I worked through the day and then in the evening made my way across the harbor. And I sat in the Delta Lounge and continued to work and waited for my 4 o'clock flight. 6 hours later, landed in Amsterdam. And instead of taking a left and heading toward customs, there is a small hotel called the Mercure, and for €20, you can rent a small shower room for an hour. And let me tell you, after an international flight, and it's 5 in the morning there, it's very humanizing. It's very civilized to take a nice shower and change your clothes. Go through customs, have a terrible breakfast, wait in a terrible waiting area for a few hours before getting on a plane and flying to your final destination. So that's what I used to do when I flew to Europe. I used to just hit connecting flight after connecting flight until I got to Dusseldorf or Hanover or Munich or whatever city I was going to, and then just took a cab to my hotel. But it usually involved hours and hours of layover time where I just sat uncomfortably in a lounge or in a restaurant and waited for my flight, and I was exhausted. And I was letting all of Europe just pass me by. And so starting in, I think 2023 or so, I started doing this thing where I would land in Amsterdam and then I would take a train to wherever I was going. But along the way, because I couldn't check into my hotel until 3 in the afternoon, along the way I would find a city I had never been to, and I would stop there and just spend a day there. So I had started doing this, and I'm going to show some pictures here where with my colleague and now friend, Brooks, we went to Amsterdam and we had a wonderful breakfast, went to some record stores. It is something I offered all my colleagues saying, hey, I'm not going to do all these connecting flights. I'm going to take a train across Europe. And some people have taken me up on it, but it's a tough day, right? You're up all night. Maybe you slept on the plane a little bit, but you're trying to get yourself to a place where you're not jet lagged or you're defeating jet lag. And that's by just staying up with the sun and going to bed when the sun goes down. So last year I did a trip to Utrecht. And that's here's the Utrecht train station. I got from Utrecht and I was able to go into the city, which is like a really neat cross of modern and traditional. As you see, I'm making my way into the city here. It was completely dominated by bike traffic, which is a wonderful thing in the Netherlands. And then there's this great canal as you go into the center of the old town. There was a pancake place that served hip-hop themed pancakes. I believe I had the Wu-Tang Clan. They had a DJ playing music there. I asked them if they could play some Tribe Called Quest. They told me they didn't play oldies. This was the breakfast I had. It was wonderful. And I was able to experience my first time a public urinal in the street. There is a canal there that features a fish gate. So there's a doorbell and there's a publicly sourced website where people can watch the camera and hit the doorbell and alert someone to open up so that a variety of fish that are found in these waters can be let through. Here are some pictures of these fish in the gate, waiting their turn. And then I also experienced the wonderful anachronism of super healthy people riding bikes while smoking cigarettes, as they do. And so flash forward to now, just about a week ago, a little over a week ago, I landed in Amsterdam, did my normal shower routine, and then went down and had a coffee at a place in the train station, which is just below the airport. And then I took the local train, had a wonderful conversation with some Canadian women about their destination, and then I arrived in the town of Amersfoort, which is a town I'd never been to before. Found a locker. All these train stations have lockers, so I put my bag in here. I eventually figured out how to close it. Left the station, determined that their economy can support a Joy Division cover band, pointing my way to the old city where all these triangles in the ground. So I walked probably about 10 minutes until I got to the old fort city, and I had to cross over some footbridges. And after I crossed the footbridges, went into the old city, There's a YouTube channel called Not Just Bikes where he says the same thing over and over again. He says, cities aren't loud, cars are loud. And really felt that here. It was just unbelievably quiet on a Friday morning. It's probably about 8:30 in the morning here, maybe almost 9. Walked this little path. It was beautiful. And just, it was very peaceful. You could hear people stirring. It was almost like a Richard Scarry book come to life of like, there's the butcher, there's the baker. And then I walked into the center of town, and there was a market setting up. And it was so charming, and it smelled wonderful. It smelled so good. I took some pictures immediately, started sending them to my wife and kids, even though it was probably 4 in the morning where they were. Could smell all this wonderful food, went to different stalls, and then determined that I really wanted a sausage roll, but I didn't know how to say it. I got Google Translate out. Twee worstenbroodjes. So I walked up to a stand and got this. It was delicious. It was €2 for 2. And then I spent a little more time walking around because I was waiting for 10 o'clock to roll around. But I just spent some time walking around town, and then I went to a little coffee shop that had window service, and I sat down and had a flat white. It took her maybe 20 minutes to make it, but it was really relaxing. She came out and apologized that it took so long, but it was just a wonderful experience. It's not the fast culture we're accustomed to. Then my 10 o'clock was looming, so I walked down this beautiful alley, and there was this record store. I'll put the name of it here on the screen. It was record store day, Friday, all over the world. So I went into this record store, and if this was my hometown record store, I would be completely satisfied. Just wonderful choice, lots of CDs, lots of records, lots of variety. I had to wait in line. I like to buy records and things when I'm on the road. It's tough to buy full-size vinyl. So I bought a Tony Allen. I've been going on a Tony Allen kick lately, the Afrobeat drummer, a CD. And then I started make my way back. My train wasn't for another hour or so, or maybe an hour and 15 minutes, and I was trying to think of what else to do, and I saw this bench over here, and I was reminded that Piet Mondrian, the 20th century artist, was from Amersfoort. And so I got my phone out, and I thought, I think his house is around here. And sure enough, it was maybe 300 meters away. I went to his house. It was a lovely museum with a cafe. You could see his whole life in there. They did not allow cameras inside, so I respected that. But it was a great experience. I think it cost €5 to go in, which I paid gladly. Walked back to the train station, waited for the train to arrive. So I took my seat. I did the check-in by phone. It's a really wonderful system. It's great. The trains are great. I know a lot of my German friends complain about the trains. I'm used to Amtrak. You guys have no idea. You have no idea how low my bar is. Sat in my seat, was able to check in on my own, hang my coat up, plug in. I had my own garbage can. The Netherlands is really cool to take a train through because you really see how flat it is, and you really see people along the train paths riding bikes on their way, and you can see that they're doing their groceries, they're taking their kids to school. And then I arrived in Hanover, which is where I spent the majority of this trip. I'll have a video about it next week. Some of the music sites in Hanover and also in Munich. I'm here in my hotel room in Munich right now, and I have just found this a really good way to make business travel that is something that isn't so taxing on me. Because when I was younger and I traveled for business, it was really fun. It was like, new hotels, new sites, new restaurants, and then, free drinks on an expense account. And as I've gotten older, it's just gotten kind of old, especially traveling and doing this in America. Like every single rest stop looks the same, every airport looks the same, every hotel kind of looks the same. So especially in Europe, being able to take advantage of the rail system and travel across all these places that are completely foreign to me, that I have to try to navigate as an American who speaks broken German. My Deutsch ist schwach, aber ich lerne. It really enhances the trip. It makes every trip something I actually look forward to. Not that I don't look forward to seeing my colleagues all over the world, but I was traveling here for a trade show. There's only so many trade shows. There's only so many dancing robots you can see. So anyway, that's it for this week. I thank you for your time and your attention, and I hope to see you next week.